So last week I was asked a question about who my artistic influences are. And in the moment, I kind of froze up and I didn't really have a good answer. So I wanted to take some time today out in the beauty of the woods and on a gorgeous sunny day to answer that question. So when I was asked who my artistic influences have been, the first couple of people that I mentioned were Salvador Dali and Vincent van Gogh. And that is true. Not stylistically with Salvador Dali, for example. I visited the Salvador Dali house in Caracas, Spain, and was completely blown away by the size and scope of this man's work and the variety of his work. His bigger than life personality, and I've always admired about that about Dali. He did include, a certain amount of his own image in his work. Van Gogh, it's always been his use of colors. Most famously, I guess, would be Starry Night, with the swirling and the colors and the small marks, and his sunflowers are just incredibly beautiful. And those were the two people that immediately came to mind when asked who my artistic influences are. So another artistic influence from the 1600s, a sculptor and architect. I know him for his sculptures in marble. Bernini did the incredible work in marble. His sculptures of veiled figures. Now, how you capture a veiled face in marble is just beyond me, but he does it, and he has an incredible knack for really capturing the way that flesh and bodies move in motion, and just capturing a moment in time in how the fingers look when digging into flesh, and how the skin reacts to touch. Really incredible sculptural pieces, amazing work. And while I don't sculpt, it's always been a great effort on my part when I'm painting or creating to capture accuracy in movement and muscle, and to capture how things look as if they were touched. That ability to capture texture and motion is really what inspires me about Bernini's work. Isn't that beautiful? So the next artist I wanted to talk about is a contemporary artist, Nandipha Mntambo. She is a South African artist. I recently saw the first piece I've ever seen of hers last year at the High Museum in Atlanta. It's Minotaurus, and this thing is absolutely amazing. The first time I saw it, I came onto the floor of the museum where it is, and it's in this great big open gallery, and this thing is 8 feet tall, and it's a female minotaur with horns, and it is exceptional. I was without words the first time I saw it. It was so powerful and so beautiful, almost menacing, but too beautiful to be menacing. Further research on her work, and I found that she works a lot with the line between animal and human, doing a lot of sculptural work, photographs for performance pieces. Some of her other sculptures include a series where the human form is represented but not actually present. She uses animal hides, such as cow hides, to drape over her own form, and then removes the actual form that these are draped over from the piece, and what is left is this beautiful draping and fabric in motion over nothing except the idea of the human form. Her work is incredible, and I was so moved the first time I saw Minotaurus. I was almost in tears, and it is a beautiful, incredible bronze sculpture. If you haven't seen it, I recommend you look it up. It's beautiful. Check this out. Isn't that pretty? I think it's some kind of melon. So the next artist that I want to mention is Frida Kahlo. Now, Frida Kahlo is notorious for her self-portraits. She's pretty much the original self-portrait queen, if you will. Of some 200 pieces that she completed over her lifetime, 55 of them were self-portraits. And those self-portraits were unique, and what has always inspired me about Frida. They are deeply personal self-portraits, and they are direct reflections of her experience, her pain, her strife, and that's how she is definitely one of my artistic influences. The next artist that has been a huge influence, not just on my artwork, but on my life, is Marina Abramovich. She's a performance artist. And I first learned about her in my art history classes in college. Her performance pieces consist of really testing the limitations of her own body. These pieces were filmed and performed live. Most notably, though, the piece that really stands out to me, and like I said, has deeply impacted me, is a piece called "The Artist is Present," where she sat across from patrons to a museum for minutes at a time for each person, never speaking, just making eye contact. But she did this for hours upon hours, for I believe a whole business day at a time. But what was particularly powerful was in one small clip of this. She is seated across from someone that she cared deeply about in her life, who had been estranged from her, and she sat across from him, and it is such a powerful and moving piece to see these two people reunited in silence, just sitting across from each other, and the emotion that goes through their faces. It's, like I said, it's done more than impact my art and my desire to do performance art and to move people through my art. It has deeply affected my life and how I think and how I see the world. So, Marina Abramovich, major influence. So hopefully I've better summed up some of my artistic influences. And what are influences, really? They're the things that we get inspiration and ideas and the things that keep us moving forward. I've had the opportunity to meet so many artists and creative people just interacting with social media. And a lot of those influences and inspirations and support people have been people like Gwen Seamill, Lord Arte Bierklaus, Mando Teresia and her Art Hive, Dina Tollefson, Chrissy Canvas Arts, Davy with a Pen, Pencil Connoisseur, Junie Genius, and Junie and the Hut Friends, her new band. These are people that are supportive and inspiring, and even if my work isn't like theirs, they become inspirations and influences, and those positive things that keep an artist going forward. So many thanks to all of those people, all of the new inspirations, new influences. Thank you so much for joining me on this beautiful afternoon. I'm sitting here in a field of blooming Adamasco lilies. It's been a fun time, a good conversation. Thanks for watching.